Okay, time for the fun stuff, learning about Audition itself. The application is divided into three main work areas: Edit View, Multitrack View, and CD Burning View. Edit View is where you can work on a single file at a time. Now that doesn't mean you can only have one file open. You can have multiple files open, but you can only work on one file at any given point in time. And any editing you do in Edit View is a destructive edit. In other words, it gets saved to the WAV file when you close it. It's permanent. You can undo it all the while you've got the application and that file open, but the moment you close the file, the history of any editing you did is gone. Multitrack View, which we can access via, well, you can access all three views via these buttons up the top. You can also, as you see by the tooltip, Edit View can be accessed via the number 8, and that is the 8 at the top of your keyboard, above the U and the I keys, not the 8 on the numeric keypad. Likewise, Multitrack can be accessed via the 9 key, which is above the I and the O keys, and CD View can be accessed via the 0, above the O and the P keys. Multitrack View is where you can work on arranging a complex arrangement. Now that might be something as simple as just a music track and a voiceover. That's a fairly simple arrangement. Or you might be recording a whole band singing a song, and you might have, 20 odd tracks of, drums and guitars and vocals and keyboards and tambourines and whatever. The great thing about Multitrack View is that any editing you do in it is non-destructive. In other words, you can undo even after you've closed the session and you've closed the files. You can open a multitrack session back up, and the original WAV files have not been affected by what you did in Multitrack View. When you save a multitrack session, it's like a recipe. It says, take this file, and that file there, bring them in, put them on these tracks, trim the start up to this many seconds and trim the end off and cut this bit out of the middle and make these volume changes, make these panning changes from left to right. And it's just a collection of instructions. The session file is actually quite small, unlike your WAV files that make up the session. Within that session file are all these instructions on how to deal with the files, but you haven't actually made changes to the WAV files. That's the beauty of Multitrack View. And when you've arranged your layout, you can then save the finished masterpiece as a stereo mixed down file. And we'll get to that later. Then we've got CD Burning View, which, as the name would suggest, is where you go when you want to burn a CD. Again, you can bring in multiple WAV files. You can then arrange the track order and any other properties that you want to adjust, which we will get to when we come back to explaining this part of the application. And you then write your CD. So those are the three main areas of Audition.